In this episode, Wilson and Mama J talk about how motivation lives in the unknown and it doesn't come from our own minds.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking that potential, and even you see, to see somebody's potential will kind of be to think about them. Do you know what I mean? Will kind of be to see what, like, you see a gem in your thoughts about them. Do you know what I mean? Of something they can do. So it kind of leads me to the same thing as motivation. It's like, I feel like to have motivation is to not be present, if that makes sense. Because I find that I like, is it fair to say that motivation comes from thinking? Do you know what I mean? And without being present, because just like potential, you see somebody, like you kind of foresee into a future of somebody that they can't see yet. So I feel like it's a bit of motivation. You kind of see into a future that you like and you want to fit, and it feels great. So therefore the motivation comes from that thought.
So I'll answer with what I heard in that, and then if it's not right, you can shout up. I think that it's all made up, and we all have our own perception of what motivation, inspiration, and it's all actually coming from thought. And when you actually feel like you want to do something, you're not thinking about motivation or inspiration or potential or anything, you're just doing it. And then it's when we're not sure that we start to look to, how do I motivate myself and how do I get inspired and all of those things. And an example is that, as I said, I like having all these different projects, but it's occurred to me more and more in the last 6 months that I really want to, well, actually in the last 12 months, but even more, I'm taking action on it now in the last 6 months, that I want to get more and more focused, that actually being focused in one direction feels like something I'd like to try. I see, like Dazzle said about guitaring, how people who are still doing that guitaring are now, doing whatever they're doing with it. And Derek talks, Wilson, you talk about your brother and how he's stuck with the juicy fruits thing. I think it's called juicy fruits.
Fruit Loops.
Fruity Loops. So what I'm thinking about. And how he's stuck with that. So I see out there, when people stick with something, they get really good at it, and they, they turn professional and good things happen and everything. And I've seen that for myself, when you're persistent and make things happen. And that's what I've done as well in my past, like with Beyond Recovery, for instance. When you're persistent and you stick at it, there were times when I woke up and didn't want to go into prison. There were times when I literally on a Friday could barely walk because I was so tired from the week, and my knees were swollen and my head was mashed. And I thought, do I really want to do this? But there was something beyond me that kept me going, turning up, overcoming that, ignoring that, getting on with it. And that's different from recognizing, it's time to stop this. The time that feeling of it's time to stop this, it's a much more clear picture, even when it's painful. Like for everybody concerned, there's a clarity about that. This just isn't working right now. What do I need to do? And in my more recent, what would happen if I really get focused on this? How would that pan out? And then, you know, I said that I've had a topsy-turvy couple of weeks. What's actually happened today is I've gone, oh, that means I could really stretch out this project. I don't have to cram it into 2 weeks. I could actually just take my time to make this thing happen. And that there was a feeling of lightness and so on. And without everything that's led to this moment, I might not have made that connection. I might have just gone on as I've gone on before and tried to cram it in and so on. It's not that I don't feel motivated to do the rest of the stuff. Is that my feeling of intention wants to have one focus right now, and so that's what I'm pointing at.
That fully makes a lot of sense, and I understand that. I'm just thinking about the times where, like, I know a lot of people that go gym, and some of them love the gym, and some people work in the gym now, and they proper love the everyday go to the gym. And then I know some other guys that they look forward to when, do you know what I mean, that summer body. So it's like they don't really enjoy going to the gym every day. They don't really enjoy the protein shakes, and they don't really enjoy all of that. But the motivation is to look big and buff. So it's like the motivation is from that thought of being big and buff, knowing that this might make me big and buff. And it even takes me to like college people and uni people when they go into professions and thinking, okay, and even police, when they go into profession thinking, I want to save people. And then it's like things, they go through all of that without enjoying it really. Like a lot of people don't really enjoy the uni work and the long lectures and all of those things, but the motivation of where it would get them, of where they think it would get them, kind of keeps them going through that. So it's even like me when I was young, we done the wrong things thinking it's for the right reason. So it's only the motivational thought of, okay, eventually this might help and this might da. I realized that when I took that thought process for actual motivation, that's where it was for me. It was just like, I would hold on to that thought process and then do whatever I have to do now until I get to that thought process, hoping I do get there. So I realized that, yeah, for me, that motivation is a lot with the thinking, man. It's a lot because, yeah, without that, I'm just present, you know what I mean? And I just do things. But I realize when I see potential in something, I'm at it, I'm on it. Like, I want to do it, I want to help you, I want to do this, I want to do that for you because I see the potential and I see what could be, or I see how happy you could be, or I see how proud people will be, or whatever. But I see that kind of, yeah, potential feeds my motivation of that thinking of, yeah, let me help. Like even when you help somebody that just carry something across the road, it's like sometimes you will just do it, or more time you'll think, you know what, me helping this person across the road helps their day, so I'm going to do it. So you'll have that whole thought process of, do you know what, this will help their day.